And we are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Alan Robertson. The blank chair over there is Dr. Alan Chen.
I'm back.
You're back. What's going on, man? So, how you
Uh,
been?
yeah, it's been a while. I was in El Salvador and just got back to the States. I actually came from a health conference called Reclaiming Health, where they talk about a lot of the stuff that we talk about.
Oh, that's
So
neat.
hence the topic of conversation today that was discussed in quite depth. So looking forward to sharing that with everybody real soon.
So, the topic we're talking about today is how the CDC has changed some of the things that where it talks about vaccines and autism, but also just vaccines in general. Um, Now, just to get this out of the way, I'm not anti-vax by any stretch of the imagination, but I am very anti thinking pharma can cure all your shit. It's wild to me how we depend upon vaccines to such a great degree in society without thinking about the long-term aspects of it. Like, everybody needs to realize vaccines are about 100 years old. Like, the mass use of vaccines are about 100 years old. We have been around a long goddamn time as people. We have no idea how this is going to affect us as a species moving forward, especially when, I always point to this. I would rather, unless it's a super deadly disease, I would rather get the disease, get natural immunity, than and have a more robust, broad spectrum natural immunity, and even hopefully going into T cell immunity, which makes it so you're apt to take new variants much easier by being healthy and in shape and not lowering my risk that way than something that possibly has massive side effects. I could argue, and I argued in the book, it was never about your health, that the best vaccine for COVID would have been everybody getting healthy. I truly believe that, because then if everybody under the age of 70 is healthy, all we need to do is do a very good job of protecting the very serious elderly people. And that's just so everybody understands. I used to work in public health to a certain degree, and that was always the policy. Like, what we did, like everything. It seems like the entire healthcare industry changed in like 2020. Like, they went back on so many aspects of what we knew to work. Right, like the concept of lockdown was insane because it's very, very, very deleterious to society. Like, we use confinement to punish people, and we just went about it anyway. But what if you could, run us through exactly what they've changed on the CDC website about this, and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so let me also clear up that I'm also not technically anti-vax. I am pro know what you're putting in your body.
Yes.
And I am over time, especially in the last 5 years, it always kind of perplexes me now that a lot of healthcare providers don't know exactly what's in the stuff that they give out. I was one of them, and I'm definitely one of those people that wants to at least know what I'm prescribing, and as much as I possibly can, to be able to give the best information that I can to the patient so that the patient makes the decision, right? Ultimately, that's where it comes from. It's not necessarily the doctor or even the healthcare provider, whatever it is. That's not really their decision, or it shouldn't be, at least. Although
Right.
a lot of us tend to be more pushy than others in trying to make it seem like it's our authority. We have plenty of other examples of that. But anyway, going back on this CDC little finagling that's been going on and has also triggered quite a few people. So I wouldn't say it's quietly changing, because the people that you expect to be triggered by it are. If you want to load up the graphic I have shared on here, this is the actual CDC government website that you see here. So we could just look at the key points here. Now, the one thing I don't know is what it said originally. This is obviously new since November 19th, 2025, and everybody's got all their panties in a wad about it. But now they're sort of rolling back this, vaccines do not cause autism statement. So now it's saying it's not an evidence-based claim, and we haven't ruled out that possibility. Whereas I would imagine it was the opposite before November 19th, where they're saying it doesn't cause autism, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And the second statement is actually very interestingly worded too. Studies supporting a link have been ignored by health authorities. That's
That's a
pretty strong
statement.
statement. Yeah, that's a statement.
Mhm.
That's for sure. And probably true.
Mhm.
Um, it's we haven't really looked into the um, the counter arguments to all this. We've
Mhm.
when you focus on one side of the argument versus and then ignore the other side, then this is where your delusions and this divide that we have in society right now, that's how it happens, is when we just
Mhm.
look at that and think it's right and not even question or not even like consider the other side of the point. This is a great example of that right here.
Yeah. I agree with you. The weird thing is like the simple statement of it's just not evidence based. Like that doesn't mean it's a definitive statement that they do. That
Right.
just means it's not evidence based. Like and it's always been a claim. It's the same thing as like the claim, like the Pfizer vaccine has saved millions of lives. You can't even possibly prove that. Like I mean, you can't even possibly prove that to any degree, especially for a virus that was so weak, right? Like to a great degree. And I know people don't like to think this, but 0.05 for people under 70, and that includes fat people and everything. Like that's insane. That's a super low number. If for healthy people, it was like 0.15. Like that is super low. That is not. Nobody should have been concerned about it at all, right?
Right.
But then, like, of course, elderly people. And what a series of the worst death threats I ever got was from saying this statement I'm about to say. But elderly people and fat people are the people that do the dying in predominance in America. Just so everybody grasps it. And I mean, there's a doctor shaking his head yes, because this is not, it's not a guess. Elderly people and obese people do the dying in America, especially when a novel upper respiratory virus comes about, because they're just not suited to take an upper respiratory virus that they have low immunity to. And I'm going to argue to a certain degree that I think people that I wonder if we would do a study to see people that have never taken the flu vaccine to see how well they did with COVID, because I bet you they have such robust immunity from allowing their bodies to get these different strains of different coronavirus and different influenza viruses that, it was much lower for them.
Mhm.
And people make these statements just like vaccines don't cause autism. What is your fucking proof that they're like trying to prove a negative or prove something that is hypothetical,
Mhm.
right? Like to save millions of I had one person argue with me, millions of Americans were saved from death by Pfizer for the COVID vaccines. Like the death rate for COVID was always lower than the average death rate of medical error.
Right.
Like if we freak out over COVID and this stuff, maybe we should freak out over that. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Actually, this is excellent. I'm going to switch the graphic here. Something that you would be interested in seeing.
Excuse me.
Do you see it? All right. So
I
this
do
is
see it.
very interesting. The actual causes of death and then actually what gets covered.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Look
this
at
is
that. That's
fascinating.
insane.
Yeah, that's
Yes. Could you blow that up just a little bit?
Let me see. How's that?
Okay, there you go. That's good. That's real good. That's real good.
Yeah. So top two, heart disease and cancer. Who gets those diseases?
Yeah. Elderly people, fat people.
Fat people. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head on that one. But I
Mhm.
think a lot of why people are so triggered by these kinds of counter statements in general is because of the right side of the graph here, where our whole world is being flipped on its head because of our media coverage, and it's not reflective of reality. So, that probably has a lot to do with that. When the gap between expectations and reality are so wide, that's where you get delusioned and triggering and all this other things, because like, oh my God, like this is a completely, adverse to what I was originally thinking, and how could this be true? And then you get those kinds of arguments. So, yeah, I mean, and this is very interesting. The highest percentage that gets covered in the media is homicides.
Yes.
That makes sense. By the way, we had the recent Charlie Kirk shooting that got covered quite a bit. The other, let's see, what else can we name? Oh, any of the school shootings got covered quite a bit. That pretty much dominated the news. You barely heard about anything else. So that makes sense. But then when you look at homicides, it's like very, very tiny. If you can see it way at the bottom on the left-hand side, less than 1%. So
another thing I think is wild here too is like drug overdoses.
That's pretty wild, actually. Yeah, that's probably celebrities. Celebrities get covered on that. Yeah, for sure. So again, this is where our priorities are.
Well, this is where our priorities are being said to be. My wife and I were having such an interesting conversation, and I think you would have really liked the other night. Because my wife is a fucking genius, but we were talking about how if you look at Hollywood and the media and everything like that, the same like 100 people have been running that for like 60 years. Like Robert De Niro is still a leading man. He's like 74 years old and a tiny little fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, but he's been at the top of Hollywood forever. Like the leading men and the leading women still kind of remain the same. And the message, I believe that that's because it's just a big like industry thing. We're watching the morning show on Apple, right? And it's Alicia Silverstone and Jennifer Aniston, right? Oh. And yes, by the way, people, I do know that they're both leftists. I couldn't give a fuck what their politics are. It's the same thing. Like people are like, you shouldn't listen to Eminem because he voted for that. I don't give a fuck who they vote for. They're the fucking entertainment. It's a big problem that we give a shit about these people's lives. And we give a shit about what they fucking say about other shit besides what they fucking do. Like Eminem's a fabulous rapper. Would you ever trust him to babysit your fucking child? No. Like, I mean, it's shit like that, But we were talking about how, like, they craft society. Like all of like, if you look at like what they go through, like right now we're in season 2 and they're just starting to get into COVID, right? Where they're starting to show the hysteria and everything like that. And it is interesting how they upplay certain things and downplay certain things. Like, I dare you to find an article anywhere. You might find one every 3 or 4 months about the death related to medical error. Maybe one every 3 or 4 months. It's 370,000 people a year, right? We freaked out. We closed the entire goddamn country for COVID. And the average was like 300,000, 285,000 per year for 4 years. And that was with massively inflated numbers, These are suppressed numbers at 371,000, right? And they don't include, and those things do not include suicidal overdose with prescription medication, which is one of the, like, it's weird how we'll have the gun conversation too. Like the very second somebody, they bring up gun violence, they include suicides in gun violence. But they don't include suicides by opioids against the medical profession. It's just how they deliver the narrative. This is a really neat graphic, dude. I have never seen something like that before.
Yeah, I'll share it to you later, but I'll give you another reason as to why things are happening the way they are. This is something that I posted yesterday on Twitter. You'll get a kick out of this too if you haven't seen it already. Let me share this tab instead. This stuff is being pervaded. So if Elon Musk has $221 billion and there's only 8 billion of us in the world, why doesn't he give us all $1 billion?
Wow.
We can't do basic math. That's like $27.
Yeah.
This is,
and look, he's smiling.
Yeah, I know. And he's so proud of himself. No, so here's the point I'm trying to make though with this graphic is, when we talk about COVID numbers, we saw like, tickers anywhere from like 10,000 to like, I don't know how high it got, but you were mentioning 300,000 as we didn't actually, I think a lot of people were just like so focused on the absolute number, but they weren't focused on the general population. So how many people do we have in the United States? It's about 300 million. I would say.
Yeah, 330 million.
When you actually do,
are we including illegals?
Let's just call it 300 million for right now.
Let's just call it 300 million for
right now. Sake. But yeah, so just keep the numbers simple for right now. With the 300,000 number, the percentage, people don't understand, fractions apparently, or percentages, becomes like way less than 1%. So we don't see it that way. It's all about, I said this before on my channel a lot. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. Like you're showing that absolute number, but we're not showing the actual percentages or other things that are very, very important in analyzing epidemiology. You know, that's conveniently being ignored. And also, we apparently have a lot of adults graduating from high school with very, very poor math education. So that all that combines into this mess that we have in society right now.
Well, I mean, I pointed this out, then people get upset about it. We're listing out the shit that people get pissed about what we say, but like the average IQ of America is probably like 96, 94, 95, somewhere in there, right?
I was going
to everybody realizes that like in the 70s, if it was 85 or under, you were considered mentally retarded.
It's true.
I mean, they actually it's true. they actually lowered it down to 70 to make, I guess, America feel better about itself, because Idiocracy is the fucking goal. Like the movie Idiocracy is the fucking goal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get every fucking mouth-breathing dumbass motherfucker to have as many babies with as many fucking women as possible and support them, you know, financially, and then fucking, you know, wonder why society is so easily manipulated.
Yeah.
Like, think about this. If everybody had an IQ of 120 as an average, do you think COVID would have fucking happened? Like, there would have been too many people being like, this is stupid. You know, this is dumb, you know? Yeah. But we have made it so people believe, like they get ingrained into something, and pulling them out of it is just incredibly hard. Like incredibly hard. Like there's still doctors that are talking about COVID. Like the one doctor, you know, I kind of bark back at all the time. He's still like, they haven't a thought like, get your booster. I have yet to hear the healthcare profession, besides you and Sean Baker and a few other people, talk about getting healthy. It's so mind-numbing to me. Yeah. It's all pharmaceutical based, and they think that, like, they act like we did not survive before vaccines, right? Another thing, Mark actually pointed this out. Why are my parents alive? My parents are in their 80s, right? Like both in their 80s. Do you know how many vaccines they got when they were young? Like 3.
Dang.
You know, like literally like 3. They got the polio, the smallpox, and something else. You got like 3 vaccines, and they're 80. They're in their 80s, you know. It's like my dad still shoots competitively. My mom still drives and shit like that. Like, you know, so it's like they make people think that this is an absolute necessity, right? And I'm so happy you're here today, because I did have a couple questions to ask you about, because the thing you sent me about you know, about the recommendations too. I'd love to talk about that, like the pregnancy recommendations.
Oh yeah, let's load it up right now. Let's get that up.
Because like when you take a look at what they suggest for people to take, they make it seem like if you do not take this, it is going to be horrific, right? Like absolutely horrific. Like measles. Measles, you would think, is a death sentence, right? Give me a second.
Oops. Yeah, I got a cold too. Yeah, I got an upper respiratory thing going too. You just can't hear it.
COVID. Oh no!
Oh no! Or the. By the way, I didn't get my flu shot this year. This is my third or fourth year now that I haven't got my flu shot.
The last year I got the flu shot when I worked in healthcare, I almost got hospitalized with the flu.
Same. I was in Thailand at the time. I was like, that was miserable. Like I was ready to die.
I fucking I had to drive. I went to a facility, and I felt a little off in the morning. Like, and I was at a skilled nursing facility too, so it's all old people. And before I even walked in the door, I threw up in the parking lot. So I you know, drove home, everything like that. And by the time I got home, like 45 minutes later, I just laid down. I was still in my suit. I just laid down in bed, and that's where I fucking stayed to the next day. It was horrific. And it was literally days. Very honestly, it was probably the flu shot. It was days after I got the flu shot.
Yeah.
I'll put this up.
But yeah, I was in Thailand at the time, and I was just like, this shit don't work. Yeah. It was 3 days over. Oh, by the way, I mean, I've heard this argument. It takes, after you get the vaccine, it's got like this like window where it takes to work. Like it
Mhm.
takes, they always move the goalpost this way, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's not supposed to work for another 2 weeks, and I'm like, well, okay, how convenient of that statement, especially when I'm
Yeah.
reporting that I got the flu in a bad way 3 days after
Mhm.
I got the shot. Like that's very convenient.
Right.
Like where did that science come from? I love it when people say like, "Oh, where are your studies? Where are your data?" And then they don't point out that data point. Like, okay, where are
Mhm.
your studies on that one then? You know.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Exactly. Check this out.
oh God, yeah, I saw that. Oh my goodness. Uh, yeah,
That's
Common
insane.
Core. Yeah, fuck you, Common Core. That was awful.
Oh yeah.
We need to get some Asians in the education system to correct that.
Well, I really, my wife and I had our right when they did like right when they installed Common Core. Our son was in elementary school, right?
Uh-huh.
And like, dude, I'm a smart motherfucker, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, I do math in my head. Like, I don't writing math on paper does not work for me. I just do it in my head, right?
Sure.
And my son is a very intelligent man. Like, he was a very intelligent kid. He was reading at a college level by the time he was like 6. He's very, very, very intelligent kid. And he came home and he's like, try to do this math homework. And I help him do the math homework how I know how. Like, and he understands it, can do it. Me and him used to do square roots in the car as we were driving. Like, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
He takes it in the next day and he gets a fucking F. Every answer is right. Every answer is right. But he gets an F because he didn't show the work in the Common Core way.
Oh God.
So we're
Go ahead.
we're talking to the teacher, and the teacher's like, "Well, he's got to show his work." I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, we need to know he's not using a calculator." I'm like, "But if he can show the old work, like how it used to look, is that okay?" And they're like, "No, it has to be Common Core." We think they did that to make it so kids would come home, "Hey, help me with my homework," and then it makes their parents look fucking stupid.
Interesting.
So now they have less they have less respect for their parents, and it incites more respect for the teacher because the teacher is the right way, and your parents don't know shit to do, and it just breeds obedience and learned obedience versus critical thinking.
Yeah.
Because critical thinking is the thing that they stomped out the hardest in the last 20 fucking years.
I've come to realize as I got older that, reflecting back on my education, I was mostly in public school. My
Mm-hmm.
teachers were fucking retarded.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God. Like, and I think that's probably why I was such a
yeah.
misbehaved child, is because I kind of knew that deep down inside, and I just wasn't able to like properly express that opinion, so to speak. So it's just like, but yeah,
So
have you seen that Common Core shit though? By the way, like I
it's
don't
so
understand
horrible.
it. I don't
It's so
understand it
dumb.
myself, and I can do math. Like it's just like what?
It's so stupid. Like, like you're very much like my kid. My kid one time came home the one day. I think he was like in like 6th grade or something like that, or 5th grade or something like that. And he hated this one fucking teacher. He hated his science teacher, right? So he asked me about physics and vectors and stuff like that. And for a long time, that was my hobby, like figuring out inertia and angles and stuff like that. I was a pole vaulter in high school, so I always broke it down to that math, right? Because there's a lot of physics involved in pole vaulting, a lot,
Yep.
including tensile strength, everything like that. Blah, blah, blah.
Parabolas, all that. Yep.
Yeah. So I go over this stuff, like vectors of movement, just like the basic stuff with him. And he's like taking notes and all like that. And I'm thinking like, fuck, this is awesome. We're bonding over knowledge and shit like that. This is better than the lifting shit, like, because this is shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Next day, man, we get a call from the fucking teacher. He embarrassed the fucking teacher in front of the class because like the teacher didn't know what I was like know about this stuff, but he started asking question after question after question to the teacher, and the teacher would give an answer and he would correct the teacher. So, but it was because they were trying to like he literally will say now like the teacher was a fucking retard. Like I mean, what I'm not going to listen to somebody that when I'm in 6th grade that I can out math and out think.
Yeah, you have to
Well,
also
anyway,
remember. Well, yeah, real sorry,
we're
real
getting
one more point. You
yeah.
have to remember, like a lot of the teachers use whatever materials are given to them by whatever system that they're in.
Yeah.
Number one, number two, a lot of them don't have real life experience, and that's why it makes it harder for them to sort of be able to um, express, certain concepts in that are pertain to their actual real life. They're just basically going off the books. and that's all they know. So, I mean, I have really strong, dislike for many teachers out there, but I do understand why that they are the way they are. So, yeah,
It's kind of crazy, I
yeah.
mean, it really is.
Random tangent though.
Random
Onward
tangent,
with,
yeah.
yes, onward with what we're actually trying to talk about here.
So this is the general recommendations for vaccinated pregnant women.
It's very interestingly worded. I'll tell you what.
It is. This shows what I think is like the internal struggle between the new healthcare regime and the old healthcare regime, right? Because no guidance not applicable for the COVID-19 shot. They should just be like, no, because they honestly have not tested this. And I'm not. I always say this, like they tell pregnant women not to eat fucking deli meat. Deli meat's been around a long fucking time.
Yeah.
But they will tell, like, all of these are given to women while pregnant.
Yeah.
They have aluminum, SV, what is it, that SV20 stuff in it that's a carcinogen.
Formaldehyde.
They have mercury. Yeah, formaldehyde. Like, I'm sorry, but, this is just not. I don't understand. And the hepatitis one, I really don't understand. I really don't understand.
Most of it I don't understand in general. Like, the hepatitis, that's kind of odd. But the fact that, for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of this is the recommendations for vaccinating on top of the already long list of vaccines that are already being recommended. So what and in a lot of cases, it's every single pregnancy. So if you have 7 kids, for example, you're getting this stuff 7 times. Which is double bonkers, 7 times bonkers. That's even more crazy.
Right.
This goes on the similar point that I made. I've made previously. Is like, why would you give the hepatitis B vaccine to a newborn? Well, it's sort of the same thing. If you have no risk factors, why the hell get it? There's no need to introduce it. I mean, for the most part, in the United States, in most Western countries, hepatitis B is not really a thing. It's really more so of a Eastern thing, if anything. And again, that's a case by case basis. You have to figure out what the history is of your specific patient, and then go by sort of those factors. But
that's another thing too. The generalization of the entire population to this shit is wild. You know.
Yeah, and it's the fact that it's just sort of accepted, and even during during 2021 when this was all being pushed out, like it took me a while to realize this part, but like they skipped the placenta studies initially. And why would you, as an obstetrician, recommend the COVID-19 jab? Why would you recommend that if that particular part of the study was omitted?
Right.
That again, that show, going back to my original point, know what you're putting in your body. This is, privy to that. Like, know what actually happened with the testing, and actually, kind of put 2 and 2 together. Then you can sort of figure out what's best for you or your patient.
Yeah. Now, I want to get to this comment real quick, because this person says they tested it, meaning the COVID vaccination, on 70% of the population. And no, they did not. They are testing it, because the test is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we'll know in about another, couple years to 10 years, even 15 years, how people are doing from this. Like, vaccines used to take about 10 years to get approval. Like, they used to take a long time, because here's also another problem. There are many vaccines in the past, and you can all look this up, where it doesn't even affect the next generation. Like, a person gets it, they have a baby, and then what happens is that baby, it grows up and has a baby, and that baby is fucked. Fucked. I get that it was sarcasm. I know it was. I wanted to use it as a launch pad for this.
But we are the test.
We are the test.
We are.
It's the same thing as we talk about Ozempic, right? Like, they're getting ready to have a pill form of Ozempic. Dr. Oz is pushing it. Fuck, RFK even switched his stance on it, and they're pushing it. They're going to have 70% of the population by waist to height ratio classified as obese, and they're going to fucking try to schedule this out to 70% of the population. And we have no idea what this is going to do long term. The studies that they've done on this were relatively small. The follow-up data, the follow-up 4-year data is very weak results, 10% on the average of weight loss, which is very weak results for how expensive and risky it is. And they have no idea what is going to happen to people that have been on this a long time. Like, people need to understand that this drug has never been tested at mass for a long duration of time. It's been around a while, because I get that all the time too. People are like, well, semaglutide's been around for like 15 years. Yes, they at a much lower dose, and that much lower dose already had a black box warning on it. So for Wegovy and semaglutide, or Wegovy and Ozempic, they use a black box warning pharmaceutical at a much higher dose than what they used it before when it got the black box warning on it. I'm going to argue that our government shouldn't be pushing anything pharmaceutical, because that very much seems like they are on the side of pharmaceuticals. But they definitely shouldn't be pushing shit that has a black box warning on that motherfucker. I mean, it's the black box warning is the gravest warning that the FDA will issue out before they have to recall it, right? Yeah. And as a newsflash, they don't want to put that black box warning on it. They don't want to recall anything, because the FDA is pay for play.
Crony.
It is crony. It really is. So it's like they go about all these things, and then you look at this over here, like, why would any pregnant woman that doesn't have Hep B get the Hep B vaccine for their baby? Like, why would a newborn baby get the Hep V vaccine? Just like you said, unless this dude pops out of the vagina with a fucking, ready to stick a needle in his arm with some heroin, or having like, risky ass sex, I'm going to assume that the baby whose mother didn't have Hep B is going to be okay from Hep B for quite a fucking while. It's all risk, no reward at that stage. And that just goes against the oath, man.
Yeah, and this is sort of where we lost the logic when it comes to this, is that it's I guess with, let's just take measles for example. Like, measles is people don't really, it doesn't have a high death rate as people think that it is. We'll just say that. That's a better statement to make. And it's treatable too. It's not like you're gonna have permanent stuff. So if you think of it from that perspective, like, do we absolutely need to have it on every single schedule? That's to be debated. But we don't look at the actual, like, what does the actual disease do, short term and long term, and weighing the risks of, okay, well, inject this agent that you may or may not know what all the ingredients are, versus what would happen if, worst case scenario, you actually get it. So I mean, that's it. It's been plenty studied for years too, and it's just something that we just forgot. Like, it just kind of left. Second thing is, this goes for not just health, but I always get the. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I am never the first in line to get version 1. That goes for that goes for anything in health, but also iPhones, like technology. I'm gonna wait for version 2. I'm gonna see what the version 1 people are doing it. If you want to be in that cool crowd where it's like, oh, you want to be the first in line, okay, knock yourself out. I will just kind of watch from afar and be like, okay, let's see what happens. Oh, all right, and then I'll make my decision. So yeah, thank you for those who have gracefully accepted that task of being version 1. So I applaud you, and thank you for helping me make my decisions.
You just gave me a good segue. Give me 1 second here.
Sure.
Let me find this again. Oh, there we are.
Oh, you're looking for a graphic? Let me get off of mine.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need to get off it.
Okay.
We can. I think we can both have it on.
Oh, okay.
So this is from what's the date? June 29th of 2020.
Ooh, that's good.
And I said a rushed vaccine for a new virus and a strain that has never had a safe, effective vaccine for in a fraction of the time it historically takes. I'll wait to see how Yins do. Yins is a Pittsburgh term, by the way. I'll wait to see how Yins do. It's like y'all. It's just Southern. Really? It's Pittsburghese y'all. I'll just wait to see how Yins do, or we could assist a high risk that choose to isolate, and everyone else just mingle to herd immunity, right? So just in case, like I get so much of the hindsight's 2020. No, motherfuckers. There was no hindsight for me. I was right from the beginning. So from the very beginning, I called it, because there's no fucking way I was putting that shit in my body, and I mean absolutely no fucking way.
Yeah.
I have a very, very healthy distrust of the government, and an even healthier distrust of the healthcare industry. I was not. I agree with you. The whole version 1. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. It was the first MMR. It was the first. That's what I don't understand too. They had never had an mRNA vaccine ever before,
right,
and we tested it on like 70% of the fucking population.
Yeah.
Like,
and people were okay with it. What are you
talking about? Yeah. Well, people are lemmings.
Yeah.
People are absolute lemmings. Like, look at our politics. Like, I'm getting heat from the fucking right now, because I'm like, what the fuck's RFK doing? Fuck this motherfucker. Right? We still have advertisements on TV. Like, I saw somebody be like, oh my God, RFK is going to make it so they have to disclose all the possible side effects. They already do, bitches. Like, they already fucking do. Like, they should be taken off of our television screen. They are not selling vaccines, and they are not selling medications with advertisement. They are buying the narrative. They are buying control of the narrative. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But then you look at the vaccine thing. It just is weird how this administration flipped on that so fucking quick, dude. Like, so quickly.
Well, and here's another funny point. So the people that were like saying, "Oh, I'm never going to trust the CDC ever again," after this happened, by the way, it's like, oh, so now you don't trust the government because it doesn't agree with your views. Like, this is it's kind of going back to what I was saying before. It's like, well, you're only clearly looking at one side of the argument here, and you're completely ignoring any other world or any possible other possibility. It's no wonder that people react this way. They're so focused in that small little box that they've put themselves permanently in that and then no wonder that the people are now you're against the government because it's probably because it's Trump too, but whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, once, because Trump can't have another term. Once his term finishes, like, are they going to continue using that as an excuse? We'll see. We'll see what the next excuse is going to be.
Well, the weird thing is, like, I'm not anti shit. I fucking inject TRT once a week. I'm not against medication. Like, it's been around, like, tested around a long time, used at proper dosages, understanding all the risks. I mean, I'm finding it to a great degree that many doctors, if I asked you about a directed medication, what was the mechanisms of it? How does it actually work in my body? What is the long-term effects? What is the short-term effects? What would happen if it interacts with this medication, that medication? Doctors are very intelligent people. You guys absorb a tremendous amount of information. You really do. But and obviously very good critical thinkers, because you do diagnostics, right? But I think it just gets so included in a bubble. There's no fucking way there's no way doctors could possibly know the ingredients of shit. There's no way that they can know, like, what that will do. Like, so they are in fact blind to a huge portion of this. I'm not saying that as I'm not saying that it's an excuse for doctors. But what I am saying is there's no possible way. Like, the doctors are at a stage now where you guys are supposed to be able to give informed consent for information that you don't have. Mm-hmm. And that's where the breakdown is. The default trust point is we trust the pharmaceutical industry. That is the default trust. And many pharmaceuticals from the past were tested for a long time and are still being used today in generic form and everything like that. Many are very good pharmaceuticals. But now, ever since we moved into the pay for play, area, the FDA recalls 25% of all the medications it approves. 25 fucking percent. Like, that is extremely, extremely bad. And they will prescribe drugs for everything. There is a drug for fucking everything, and that is just against, like, our species almost.
I mean, for a human, it's
Mhm.
impossible with the vast array of drugs that we could prescribe. It's so wide. It's almost
Mhm.
impossible for any, not just doctor, but pharmacist to understand every single side effect, every single long-term, short-term side effect, every single interaction with another drug. We these days we look it up. Let's be real.
Mhm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're tested to memorize all that crap, which I question whether that's even effective use of standardized testing, but that's a whole nother discussion for another time. But anyway, yeah, we look most of this shit up too, and
Mhm.
that depends on who's supplying that information also.
Yeah.
So you have to wonder about that, who's actually giving the information. And then you mentioned something about informed consent. One of the biggest things that gets missing in informed consent, because you're supposed to have 4 parts: uh, the purpose of said intervention, what it does, um, side effects or complications, potential side effects or complications. The fourth one is alternatives to therapy. This is the
Mhm.
fourth one that we miss a lot. So
A
let's
lot.
just take, for example, let's go. Well, we're on the topic of vaccines. Take vaccines, for example. The alternatives to therapy. It's like the reason why that gets missed a lot in informed consent, if informed consent ever gets done, by the way,
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't even get done. Period. You get none of the 4. But uh, if you think about vaccines, that fourth one, alternatives to therapy, a lot of people think of vaccines as like there's no other alternative. This is the only way to go about this. That often gets missed because we're
Mhm.
so, again, one-sided thinking, where my way is the highway. It's the right way, so to speak. And then that's where you lead into all these other issues with especially doctors who have these kind of huge egos that are um, absolutely, they don't know any other way, and they just think whatever they say is gospel
Mhm.
at that point. Yeah.
I think it would do because it's basically trust. Like it's a trust thing, right?
Yeah.
They're very upset with like that whole anti-vax bullshit, right? I'll tell you this right now. If you trust a segment of an industry that has been shown to be historically corrupt, by the way,
Mm.
I mean, the vaccine industry has been shown to be historically corrupt. They have a liability shield. Like they bribed the government to give them a liability shield. If you want to build trust back in vaccines, remove the liability shield. Remove it because here's why they never will. It would kill the vaccine industry,
Yep.
and they know it. That's why they will not do it.
Yep.
Like they know that the vaccine industry will crumble. They have literally told the government that. Like Pfizer has said, like, well, if we don't have a liability shield, we won't be making vaccines. Then don't make vaccines. I mean, literally, like, I'm sorry, but like, this is where we get into how like I'm considered very radical and conspiracy theorist, even more than normal. But the government should not facilitate who you can hold responsible for harming you.
Right.
They can't. The government should not be able to say like, yeah, but we made a deal with these people, so even though this vaccine completely fucked your world up and killed your kid, you can't sue them.
Yeah.
You can go through us, and we have this vaccine thing that will take you 20 fucking years to get like $10 out of, because the vaccine like injury bullshit thing that they have is incredibly complicated. They will fight you tooth and nail until that you're out of money, and then if they do pay out, it is incredibly low, like an
Yeah.
incredibly low payout.
Yeah.
So if we would just remove the liability shield and the vaccine industry would go out of business, that would tell you what's up.
Yeah.
Like that would literally tell you what's up.
Yeah. So the result of that, one, the folks that actually legitimately got injured, the myocarditis of the world, the pulmonary embolisms, and the deaths, unfortunately, are probably not going to get justice at this point. Number two, the VAERS, the reporting system, that data is very underreported, especially for the COVID jab. And they actually, when I went to Reclaiming Health, they cited it as they think the actual number is 100 times than what the actual reported number is.
Yeah.
Even okay, so let's just say, for example, you even believe the numbers that are put out there. The COVID jab is still the worst of all the bunch. If you believe the numbers,
Yeah.
but I still think that's true, regardless of whether you believe the numbers or not.
Right.
It's crazy that despite that knowledge, people are still pushing for it, or they're still getting their 9th, 10th double-digit vaccine. I'm like, oh, okay. There's no saving you at this point. It's just like there's nothing I can do. It's up to you and God at this point. So it's like, okay,
right.
Yeah. So it's quite crazy. And actually, one more thing that this is kind of a segue, because I actually filmed this morning. If you ever want to confirm data or studies, look at the market trends. It's if you see like something just spike out of nowhere, and so the example that I gave was the mental health crisis. We have a spike or higher demand of therapists, higher demand of there's all these apps that are out there that you can get on-demand therapy in case you need it. Obviously, the hotlines have always been there, but those kinds of services have been increasing, and they've been doing very, very well. And also, not to mention, the psychiatric medications have also been increasing. So if you just look at what people are buying, what people are spending their time on, what people are spending their energy on, if you just look at that, it can help you decipher whether something's kind of bullshit or not. Is look at the markets, and thus with when we talk about the vaccines and what you were talking about with the liability, that's a key piece of knowledge that most people don't know about, is that they have that the Vaccine Injury Act. I forgot the exact name of the act.
VAERS.
No, the act that had that happen.
Oh, okay.
Do that. Yeah. The Vaccine Injury something Act, or something.
Yeah.
It was something in that regards. But anyway, when the government sort of interferes with the free marketplace, that's when you have to look at, could this be bullshit or not? Like, could said fact be bullshit or not? Because the government is artificially messing with the markets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you bring in healthcare. Me and you have talked about this before. Like, and I have, just so everybody understands, I have the utmost respect for Alan. I do, but like, you're not qualified to give people psychiatric meds. You're just not.
No, I don't want to either. I really don't.
But you're like the vast majority of doctors, of general practitioners, and you're not even a general practitioner. You're a radiologist. You received even more training. You are not qualified to. Like, I would argue, and by the way, I would argue this. I would argue that nobody is qualified to give you a psychiatric medication, because I would argue that the entire psychiatric field is made up of opinions. Because you're asking people how they feel. So right now, one of the reasons why everybody seems to be on psychiatric medications is because the media and the government has pretty much told everybody that, oh, you guys are just all fucked up. Like, it's okay to wallow in your shit. Like, I come from a generation like bad shit happens to you, you put that shit in a little box, you throw it in the back of your fucking brain, and you fucking move the fuck on. Like, life sucks by a helmet, right? But instead, oh, you're feeling a little sad. Okay, we'll give you this serotonin medication that we have no idea if it works or not, and you're good, even though it has suicidal ideation and violent tendencies, like weight gain, like all the things that are bad for you. So the entire psychiatric field is opinion. Like, there's pattern recognition, of course, like certain people with bipolar disorder, and bipolar disorder can be checked. Like, you can see it. Like, there's tests for it. But generalized depression, there is not. No. And none of these psychiatric medications ever come with lifestyle interventions where it's massively shown that exercise, eating right, avoiding ultra-processed foods, all have an incredibly positive impact on people's moods and everything like that, just by their opinion. But one more time, it's all opinion. Like, it's all opinion. Just because there's correlating data, these are also the same people, dude, that they'll say, like, when you point out, like, look at how many vaccines we're getting and how autism rates skyrocket, they will be the first ones to say correlation is not causation.
Oh, God.
Right? So when you say correlation is not causation, I hope you motherfuckers realize that you just destroyed about 90% of the mental health care industry and a good 50 to 75% of the actual healthcare industry.
Yeah.
Because it's all correlation. They have no idea how Ozempic works.
Yeah.
They really don't. They know it causes these things to happen in the body. They don't know the mechanisms. Like things like metformin. They do know the mechanisms for metformin. That's why it is a good medication, except it has massive side effects and is, just berberine is just as good and it's natural without the side effects. But for a lot of it, when they say correlation is causation, like in your field, you're a radiologist. You see the fucking tumor. Yeah. You're like, hey, that tumor's causing some fucking problems, right?
Yeah.
That is causation, right? Yeah. But when people get in that argument where correlation does not mean causation, you're dismissing. Yeah.
They do it out of they conveniently say it when it's convenient for them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it just gets to the point now where we're cooked. Like we're cooked. Society's cooked, bro. Yeah. We're for generations. We're gonna be digging our way out of this. Yeah. We have enabled a massive amount of very mentally weak people to become much more mentally weak. We have allowed for people to revel in ignorance. Yeah. We have made it seem like being stupid is cool, and that's fucking crazy. Yeah. Like that's insane. And then they do it because, as I will say this one more time, they want you fat, sick, weak, and dependent, and dumb. And to be fat, sick, weak, and dependent, you got to be dumb.
Yeah,
like you got to be dumb. Yeah, I mean you got to be, because like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every fat person is stupid, ish, but because I was stupid when I was allowing myself to be fat, dude. I was ignoring shit that was very clearly bad for me. Like that's stupid. Like when I was fat, Alan, that was dumb as fuck, bro.
Oh,
like,
same here. Dumb. Same. I was a fat kid too. Yeah.
Like it's an interesting concept where we're headed, but we're cooked. Like these people, like the pharmaceutical industry has become a religion to a lot of these people. And we're cooked because we have to live with them. This person, I hate metformin. By the way, if you guys got a couple questions you want to ask the doc or me, like let's get to that too. But this said, ugh, I hate metformin. The side effects are still ongoing after I stopped it 2 years ago. I heard the muscle soreness is just outrageous.
Yeah, that's the one that gets people a lot, is how they stop taking it. Yeah, it's I forget what the term that they actually used, but it's the muscle aches that get people a lot. Yeah, with that drug. Yeah. And by the way, with the just to wrap up the point about the psychiatric industry, we pathologize emotions. Mm-hmm. To the point where now we can charge insurance companies and pay for drugs. Mm-hmm. Whereas I would say in a lot of cases, there's a good deal of trauma or some life event that kind of didn't get proper closure. Mm-hmm. That can cause these especially very insidiously, like it can just sort of like creep in there, and then you kind of start getting this like cycles of depression, anxiety, and all the like. Mm-hmm. We don't address that, and that's where therapy or good therapy comes into play, when you address that issue and to tackle it head on, so that you can make peace with it, and then thus the root cause of your whatever mental health issues that are going on, depression, anxiety, like the root cause can actually be solved, and that we don't have to go to Prozac, Xanax, and all the like, because that's what I see with people that have they're freaking on TikTok. They're people that are bragging about, oh my god, here's my psychiatric medications for regimen for the day, it's not Xanax, and I'm like, what I see when I see that is that there's a lot of trauma that you probably have not addressed, and that you're hiding or you're ignoring, that's probably existing, and you're just not addressing it. And that in a way I feel bad in a sense to get to that point where you're bragging about what psychiatric meds you're on TikTok for fuck's sake. So it's you have to feel for those people in some way, but at the same time, no, they did it to themselves. So
I agree. They've done it to themselves, but we also, like, the very second you tell somebody like, yeah, that's a problem, they'll believe you it's a problem. Like they don't want to think it's them. Like they want to think it's something that happened to them. Like the entire concept of trauma. And don't get me wrong, like I come from an age where it's like we knew people that came back from war were going to have trauma, right? And because you're putting them in a war situation, like you're putting them in a situation where it is, fight or flight 24/7 for years, and they have to do horrific things or have horrific things done to them. So, of course, that's it. And don't get me wrong, for survivors of domestic abuse, for survivors of of sexual assault, for even people that have been through very serious traumatic injuries and stuff like that. Of course, like that's trauma. Me calling you fat when you're fat, that is not fucking trauma. Like, I mean, right now they have it to the point where so many people talk about trauma this, trauma that, blah 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 blah. Like, anybody can, like, we entered this whole my reality. Well, my truth. There's not your fucking truth. There's the truth. And when we allowed people to revel in that, that's how we got all sorts of shit too. That's how we got people believing that they identify as cats and shit. Like, I'm going to just say no. Right? When you start when you start identifying as outside of the fucking human species, even they them, which I understand people don't feel like they fit in, but when you feel it's trauma to be misgendered,
yeah,
that should be something where you're sat down and be like, look, you can feel this way,
yeah,
but that does not make it so everybody in the world, like, it's like we're trying to make it so everybody has a reason to be able to say that they've been traumatized in some way.
To be a victim.
To be a victim, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we hyperinflate the word trauma, that's for sure. I agree with that. And I would also say, yeah, that I saw that too. We also mislabel what trauma actually is, and people think like, oh, you calling somebody fat is trauma, whereas there's actually something else that's not being addressed that probably was the traumatic incident that caused you to overeat, because you didn't, I don't know, your parents didn't didn't like you as a child, and they beat you or what, something like that. Like, it's something that wasn't addressed, but we don't properly label what actual trauma is as well. So there is something I sometimes see where there is something there that's actually legitimately trauma, but we just don't.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it just gets set aside into a very dormant part of your brain and doesn't even get addressed. So but then the feelings are still there, though. The feelings are still subconsciously there, but then they have to find another scapegoat. You calling somebody fat, they have to find another scapegoat to say, oh, I'm traumatized, I'm depressed, blah 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 blah. That sort of thing.
We had this person, real quick, and this is not a medical diagnosis, just but metformin and berberine bring out I can't even pronounce that word. Dysphotic eczema.
Dyshydrotic eczema. Yeah.
Thank you.
I haven't heard about berberine, but I have heard about metformin. So I'm
doing that. Well, here's the thing. If you ask me, it's likely because if you look at the mechanisms, both of them increase AMP and ATP ratio. Both of them activate AMPK, and they both have downstream hepatic gluconeogenesis. They improve insulin sensitivity in muscles and fat. I would argue that if I was you, I would find out what is similar in their mechanisms if they both do it, and that is really kind of the key to what's triggering that out, right? Yeah. Because they have a lot of similarities, but they do have a lot of differences. But if they both have the same similarity for you, it is in one of the mechanisms that they share. Is what I'm trying to say. And again, not a medical diagnosis, not a doctor, and even if I was, I wouldn't diagnose anybody over the fucking internet. You got to be stupid.
That's true. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Another question after that one. Tizanidine.
Where's this one?
The Ireland.
Oh yeah.
I have not heard of that drug. Maybe on purpose, but then again, I don't treat MS as well. So I do not. I think nowadays they use a lot of immunomodulators for MS these days. The stuff that kind of messes with your immune system, because they call it autoimmune. So I've not heard of tizanidine though. No.
I believe Ireland is the one that also said something about their fibromyalgia. That they think
Let's see.
Yeah, they think the vaccine did something with that. I'm just going to go ahead out on a limb here. I believe that the massive majority, at the very least, of fibromyalgia cases are not real, and you can't prove it is real. It's the thing. Like, and it's a disease of exclusion. It's a diagnosis, excuse me, of exclusion. I can't even say disease. It's a diagnosis of exclusion. Yeah. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I will say, however, that one of the biggest things about it is they oftentimes feel muscle pain, and I would wonder how many of these people are also on metformin. Or something like that. Yeah, or fat. Yeah. Yeah. I believe the obesity correlation with fibromyalgia is enormous.
I believe it's a risk factor, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember correctly, they report it as a risk factor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm not trying to downplay anybody's plight, pain, or discomfort from their fibromyalgia diagnosis. I am just saying that if you just say, well, I have fibromyalgia and that's my diagnosis, and then it gives them an open window to heavily medicate you, the side effects of medications could be just as bad, if not causing all the symptoms.
Or worse.
Or worse. Yeah. So I'm not medical advice, but look into it, because there is not a test for fibromyalgia. There's not a blood test. There is not an enzyme test. There is not any test that can say, well, that's fibromyalgia right there. That it's not. That's one of the reasons why it takes so long to diagnose people to give the diagnosis of fibromyalgia. But it is often, never overweight in your life. Like I said, I'm not saying it's not a real thing. I'm just saying that that's what they told you it was. So therefore, they went on with it. For all you know, it could be something completely else that they just stopped looking for because they diagnosed you with fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
My point is, don't ever trust the healthcare industry. Don't, because if you have good insurance, especially if you have really good insurance, do not fucking trust the healthcare industry, because when they realize they can bill for whatever the fuck you want, they will bill you for whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Little story real quick before we go.
Sure.
When I was working in healthcare, we had a skilled nursing facility, and I don't know if you're familiar with like how they run, but there's always tiers of need, right?
Yeah.
So like basic need is like, you can be in their assisted living and you can do your own laundry, and it's just kind of a place for you to live, and you get meals and stuff like that, right? Assisted, almost independent, right? But even in assisted living, the very second you need somebody to do your laundry for you, that's another $2,000 a fucking month. The very second, and I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It's like $2,000 more a month.
Yeah.
Anytime they can put you at a higher level of care, they will fucking do so, and they will charge you money, especially if you have very, very, very good insurance. If you're on Medicare, understand you should be asking your doctor every fucking follow-up question possible, because Medicare oftentimes pays $600 per fucking night at a hotel stay or at a hospital stay, or a skilled nursing stay, not even a hospital. So, and the way this works is that you get put on Medicare for 100 days if you go into a skilled nursing facility, right? There is some magical property that somehow happens that it almost is like for sure that every 98 days the person is sick enough where they need to go to the hospital for at least 3 days, which then restarts the 100 days of Medicare. So they get to come back, because if they're in the facility, technically they cannot kick you out unless you do something very disruptive. They cannot kick you out because they can't even kick you out if you don't have any money, right? But what will happen is you will go from Medicare to Medicaid. Medicare pays the skilled nursing or assisted living facility about $600 a fucking day. It's called the rug rate. Medicaid is like $80. So somehow or another, people end up going back to the hospital after 98 days, which then restarts their 100 days of Medicaid that they can charge at the facility. I've seen it happen hundreds of fucking times, hundreds of times in my tenure. So this is why, and again, I'm not saying to not ever trust the healthcare facility, but make them earn it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. The nursing home industry. Oof.
Oh my God.
Follow the money on that one. That's
anytime you want me on your channel to talk about it, let me know. I used to write the budgets for that shit.
Nice. Yeah, well, we should do that.
Sure. I had one facility in New York that we budgeted $5.25 a day for each resident to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. $5.25 a day, right?
Damn.
We also, out of that kitchen, made the 3 meals a day for the county jail. That was $12 a day.
Oh, wow.
So the people your tax dollars are paying for get $12 a day.
Yeah.
The people that are coming out of their own personal pocket or insurance are getting $5.25 a day. The people that are paying thousands of fucking dollars, like in the upwards of $10,000 to $12,000 a month sometimes for these facilities.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you know that one of the reasons why they even came up with the concept of reverse mortgages?
Vaguely, but yeah.
Okay, so say you're an elderly person, you own your home outright. You can take a loan, you can take a reverse mortgage out on your home, and it will pay you monthly, and then the bank or whoever gives you the loan gets your house when you're dead, right? So the entire invention of that was literally for people to be able to afford skilled nursings and assisted livings.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
System works together, bro.
Yeah, I hope I never have to get to that point where I have to do that. But
I'll take a long walk in the woods before that shit happens.
Yeah, right. Seriously,
that ain't never happened. And I'll tell you this right now: if I ever start getting Alzheimer's, I'm taking care of that shit myself. I will never, ever put my wife and son through that. Ever. It is. I've seen what it does to like people that have been married for like 40 years. They walk in the room, and I'm going to try not to choke up, but they walk in the room like they've missed their spouse so much, and the spouse doesn't recognize them. It crushes them. Like that will never happen to my wife and son, ever. I will take care of that shit long before that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Oof. Yeah. Dang. Well, on that note,
we're going to end it. We'll be back next week. Now that you're back in the States, we'll do the same. We'll keep kicking it out. We'll talk all things healthcare industry. Yeah. So, by the way, everybody, for Thanksgiving, here's my honest advice to not worry about Thanksgiving when it comes to gaining weight and everything like that. You know, try to be mindful up until Thanksgiving. You don't necessarily need to diet, but just be mindful. You're going to be probably taking in a few extra calories on Thanksgiving, no matter what. But I do suggest you start your Thanksgiving off. Wake up, make sure you get plenty of hydration in. I would suggest you try to get at least 75% of your hydration in before you have your Thanksgiving meal for the day. And I would also suggest that if you do eat earlier before Thanksgiving meal, that be 100% protein and fat. Steak and eggs is a perfect thing to go by. And before you get to Thanksgiving Day, like next Wednesday, maybe look in your house and make sure you know exactly what you are going to eat the next morning, because the chances that you're going to overeat that Thanksgiving night, no big fucking deal. That's what holidays are for. Give yourself permission to have this stuff, especially if you started your day off properly hydrated with proper protein and fat allotment in you. You probably won't be that hungry anyway. Just eat to enjoy, okay? But the next day, you're likely, especially if you have some pumpkin pie or if you have some sweet potato casserole that is really sweet potato pie, it's likely that you're going to have some cravings the next day. I would have another thing where you try to get 75% of your hydration in before midday and start your day off, even if it's your first two meals, just all protein. That'll quell down any of the glycemic response and any of the blood sugar cravings you're having in your body. And that will help you, not make Thanksgiving into 2 weeks worth of eating. It'll just be one day. Okay?
Or longer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thank you very much. Where can everybody find you?
YouTube at Your Health Unplugged. I'll have some content from my recent trip to El Salvador. It's going to be some cool stuff.
Sweet, man.
Coming up, yeah. But thanks for having me on again.
Thank you again. And everybody, I hope you have a great day. My name is Alan Roberts. This is Dr. Alan Chen. We are Alan Squared. Goddamn.